Hi guys, so today I'll be just discussing a little bit about some special elections that are going to be taking place if it hasn't yet in New York, Iowa, Minnesota, and Cali, and election that happened recently in Florida. So really quick for New York, there's going to be a special election that will happen with the U.S. House uh, position since Stephanie is being nominated for the UN position. So now which is UN stands for United Nations. So she won't be working there anymore because she's being appointed by Trump. So there's gonna be an election about this in New York pretty soon for the House of Rep. Keep in mind the special elections, specifically only for the House of Representatives, not for the Senate. And for these positions, they're only between now and the general election for these positions, meaning that they're special for now that someone's going to take over position temporarily. And when it comes to the general election, which we're going to have one in Congress in 2026, they're going to be running again. But that's just for now. But until then, they'll be part of the U.S. House or a state legislative position until the actual official general election. So they have to go through a whole election again to actually keep the position if they get voted once more. So keep that in mind about special elections. They're only for the U.S. House of Representatives and for the state legislatures within some states. They're not for the Senate. So keep that in mind. So for this one, for the New York one, Stefanik is going to leave, as I explained why earlier, and there's going to be some people running as GOP members or Democrat members, possibly third party, trying to get the House seat. This going to matter a lot. Why? Because right now the U.S. House representative is only, I think, around 2017 Republicans and 2015 Democrats. So it's very possible that depending on how people vote, if they really pay attention and vote wisely, Republicans could lose their stronghold, which is a very slight stronghold in the House of Rep. So that'll make things a little bit hard for them to pass actual legislation. And they know this. So they're going to try to misinform people as much as they can to convince them not to go out of your way to vote because now the GOP can do whatever they want. They will say a lot of things to make you guys not go out and vote. Make sure you educate yourself and vote, especially vote against the Republican Party. So anyone who's part of the Republican Party, that just means they are literally just another Trump supporter. The Republican Party has been destroyed for decades now, but even more now it's being completely demonstrated that the Republican Party only cares about a dictatorship. They don't care about the people. Not saying the Democrat Party is perfect. Not saying they're not also owned by the rich and the wealthy. But the difference between them and the GOP is growing to the point that at least with the Democrat Party, we wouldn't have all the issues that have been going on currently by uh, decision made by Trump and his administration. This is really crucial. Anyone who's also in Congress who is a GOP member, they're also for the most part backing up Trump. So keep that in mind. That also matters in state legislature positions. So when you vote within your state elections, make sure you research who is Trump supporter. Majority of them are going to be Republicans. Keep that in mind when you go out and vote. So for this New York one, this is important. There's going to be an election eventually on this. This article and the other articles are going to be talking about in Cali, Minnesota, etc. I'm going to put in my description so you guys can read it completely if you like. So this one is important. There will be several people running for this race. It's going to happen, and I just highlighted why I felt was the most important part of this article. Here, what it looks like on the GOP side based on percentage of 100. Oneda, Lawrence, Hekimir, and so on. These are all the percentage of people who probably have a greater say or greater chance of potential winning this position. A lot of this position where now Trump have appointed certain people who are Republican into a position by the White House, they tend to also be very heavily controlled by the GOP. So don't think that they remove this candidate from there because now she's working for the White House. Now the U.S. rep position is available. It's going to be easy win for Democrats. It will not be. There are a lot of areas in the state of New York that's very red, very Republican. So you're gonna have to go out of your way to vote. Now we know that for a lot of the MAGA Trump supporters, they tend to vote heavily when it's related to Trump and when Trump is running. But that doesn't mean they will not vote at all during these special elections and general election for people to put in individuals into Congress or into state legislature. So assume that people vote in large numbers. So you also do the same to make sure you're not in the same situation where Republicans can constantly have full control of the House and the Senate or of your state legislature. That all matters, especially if they try to pass an amendment that could impact a lot of lives. They need numbers in Congress to do that properly, and also numbers of people in the state legislatures to get the approval. That's why it matters. Voting always matters. So keep in mind that they will be running for race, and I'll keep you guys more updated when more specific position will be available for this and who's specifically going to potentially win the primary and then the general election. And especially in 2026, we're going to be talking a lot about this. So that's one article. This one is in Cali. This was a special election, primary ballots for vacant assembly district 32C. So this is assembly position. This is a state legislative position in California. So keep that in mind when they talk about assembly stuff like that. That's in general the state legislature. It's equivalent of the Congress federal level, but at the state level. So the County Elections Office said ballots for a special election, primarily for the vacant assembly district 32C, are now arranging for registered voters. A lot of these things been talked about for the last 5 or so days. So some things have been happening since around January 27 or so, 26 until now. So these are just more quick updates on what's going on. Elections officials said ballots were sent for the February 25th special election beginning Monday. Every registered voter in the 32nd Assembly District will receive a ballot in the mail. So make sure you guys are registered so you get your ballot. That's very important. Always check your voter registration. That's extremely important. That's something I discussed also in my first YouTube video regarding when voting for Kamala Harris at that point, which is what I was telling people to. So guess what people should do? I gave a lot of the information and put in the description as well, so people can click on the links and check with the U.S. .gov websites related to that. The primary will determine the top two candidates who would then advance to a runoff election April 29. So these elections are important. Keep in mind these dates are really crucial for you to remember. The special election was called in December after Rep. Vince Fung was a Republican from the Bakersfield County, vacated the Assembly seat. He won, but didn't campaign for since he was running for his California House of Representatives seat. Makes sense. That's why he gave up that state legislature seat so he can be part of the House of Rep, which is obviously a high position. That's federal government. Assembly is state legislature. Fung won re-election to his 20th District U.S. House seat in November and will continue to serve in Washington, D.C., leaving the 32nd District Cali Assembly seat open, pending the results of the upcoming special election. Dr. Chris Cruz Boney, I'm sure how to pronounce that, San Elise, Holly Willoughby, and William Brown Jr. are candidates running for the seat. You can view interviews with the candidates below, which is this right here. So those are people running for the state assembly position within the state legislature of Cali. Next up is the Republicans lose our election district that Trump won by 21 points. So this happened in Iowa. So this is state legislature position. And technically, Trump did win that one pretty highly. He won a lot of points back in November 2024. And he easily won Iowa. But this time, Republicans didn't do too well in the special election. Democrat Mike Zimmer actually defeated Republican Kate in the special election for Senate District 35, which covers portions of Jackson, Clinton, and Scott counties. This is all Iowa, the state of Iowa. So keep that in mind. So this is a big deal because that really helps to reduce the Republican control at the state legislature level, at least for this state, which is Iowa, which is very interesting. That's basically the whole point of this article. But that doesn't mean that now you guys can just relax in Iowa and do nothing else. There will still be more work needs to be done. Right now, we still have 34 Republicans in the state Senate for the state of Iowa, so keep that in mind. This is something that needs to be done, and it's not completely over yet. But again, I'm gonna put this in my description so you guys can read the article in more detail. Now, in this one, Donnie Crock wins Senate special election, and which this happened in Minnesota, state Senate seat. So keeping out the state legislature once again. It's a special election, so it's going to have to be run again in 2026. But another Democrat won this position, which is really interesting. Now, not something impossible to happen in Minnesota, but now it got flipped democratically. So now the Democrats have a more control of the state legislature of Minnesota. That's very crucial, especially in trying to pass state laws. And if there are amendments they disagree, that Trump, for instance, wants to get passed in Congress, where they need assistance from the state legislatures if they don't have enough numbers in Congress, this is where the power of numbers comes in handy. And when you don't have so many GOP members, they can really do as much damage legislatively, in terms of law, direct or amendment to the Constitution. And they know this. They will try to do things as much as they can via executive voter mostly, and some things they will try to pass through Congress as much as they can, which they're trying to. But yes, so this was something that got flipped in Minnesota state legislature, so that's not good news. Now, this is probably one of the more important articles because this is going to be related to the U.S. Senate. So Republicans patronize fine win primaries in heavily GOP congressional districts. So most likely they will probably win the general election, and this in the state of Florida. They probably win the general election most likely. Florida in general is very controlled by GOP members, so it's very unlikely that Democrats would take much of control in any way, shape, or form, whether it's people voting for individuals into Congress or state legislature positions like Assembly and Senate, state Assembly, state Senate. It's unlikely that Democrats will ever have proper control over such a heavily Republican-controlled state. That doesn't mean you should not go out and vote. You should. Sometimes things can be changed if every single Democrat in that county, in those cities, actually go out and vote. So keep that in mind. Every vote matters. It may not seem like it, but every vote matters. Some of these people who won the Democracy and they were able to flip some red seats, won by only couple hundred votes, couple dozen votes. It can be so small that it demonstrates that every vote matters. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't vote during special elections. This is not a special election in Florida, but special elections are even less likely to have people go out and vote. So you really got to pay attention to what's happening in your state legislature, what position might be going out there for voting now, whether it's a special election or it's a primary election in your state before the general election. Got to pay attention to these things. So of course they easily won this, not really a surprise. That doesn't mean they'll automatically win the general election, but you have to pay attention and got to wait to vote. So the winner would take on gun safety advocate Gay Valimont, who is running unopposed in the Democratic primary. Valimont lost to Gaetz, not sure how to pronounce that, by more than 30 percentage points in November in what is considered the most conservative district in the state. Makes sense. And of course, Trump endorsed Patronis, and that person won this position. The Democratic primary in CD6 features educator Josh Will, who announced last week that he had raised more than $500K in his campaign. He's running against George Salmont, who ran and lost as a Democrat against Republican John Rutherford in Florida fourth congressional district in 2018. Yeah, it's going to be a very tough position to be able to have anyone in the Democrat side win. But hey, people need to run for office and go out and vote. If you want your state to be different, you have to go out and vote and educate people. Now, in this one, this is not a special election. This is in Linn County, also Iowa. Uh, these are special elections in the city of Robbins and Lisbon Community School District. So, two special elections have been called to be held on Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. The city of Robbins is putting a levy question to residents who are eligible to vote. The Lisbon community school districts putting a physical print and equipment levy question to voters within the district. The Lynn County Auditor's Office is now accepting absentee ballot requests until the deadline of 5 p.m. February 17. The Auditor's Office will mail absentee ballots to requesters beginning February 12th. Absent, as absentee voting person. So you can basically start voting in person beginning Wednesday, February 12th. Individuals may vote in person at the Election Services Department of the Auditor's Office. All this information are obviously freely available for people who live in the district. Just have to go to the website, but a lot of people don't do these things and don't really check. Here's important dates and deadlines about this. Right here, pay attention to this chart. This is really important. Like February 12th, which is a Wednesday. First day, absentee ballots can be mailed. And then first day to vote in person at election office, also February 12th. February 17th, Monday, last day to pre-register to vote. And last day to request an absentee ballot to be mailed. And then March 3rd, last day to vote in person at election office. And then March 4th, election day for this specific election. And last day to request a recount will be March 14th. All those things matter a lot. All these dates are crucial. It's important to memorize dates, write down your calendar so you remember when to vote. If you want to make a change, you don't want to have even more GOP control the state legislatures, local legislature of your state. If you don't want Trump to have so much more power than he already has, you gotta wait to vote and run for office. You gotta do both. And if you can, educate the people who are more likely to change their minds, which are the undecided or the indecided voters, the ones who really don't vote. So the ones who just never vote at all, those are the ones you want to educate and explain why it's important to vote and run for office. The ones that are always going to be vote for Republican, there's not much you can do to change their mind. So you can try, but you're probably going to be wasting a lot of your time. You want to focus on the voters who really cannot decide if they want to vote or not, or just don't care about voting because they think will not impact them, even though it will, and most likely in a negative way. So that's the updates for this type of special elections and the regular election in Florida. Most likely the Republicans are gonna win this position easily for the U.S. Senate, but again, you can try to vote and run for office in the future to try to make bigger changes. And let me know, guys, what you think about all these type of elections, the special elections in some states, the election that become a general election so in Florida. Let me know in the comment section below. Let me think. Let me know what you think, how the process works in your state. Give me if you know any more additional information about these elections or any other ones within your state or any potential future ones that will be putting people into Congress. Keep putting in the comment section to inform me, and I'll see if there'll be any news article or video about it, and I'll definitely be checking those out. Thank you guys, and have a wonderful day.